Konnichiwa, everybody. Welcome to Last Raps Baseball's Guide to Japanese Baseball. On Friday, June 19th, 2020, the Nippon Professional Baseball, or for short NPB, will begin play for their 2020 season. Unlike in North America, where the MLBPA and MLB have not come to an agreement on how this 2020 season will be played or structured, the Japanese will play a 120-game schedule, down 23 games from its normal 143-game season. The purpose of these videos is to provide the English-speaking North American audience an opportunity to get to know the NPB a little bit better. We'll focus on expat players who are currently making their living and applying their trade in Japan, as well as players that maybe were AAA players or AA players who are trying to establish themselves and possibly get a bounce back to the major leagues in future years. Let's begin by taking a look on how the leagues are structured. The Central League features 6 clubs: the Chinichi Dragons, the Hanshin Tigers, the Hiroshima Toyo Carp, the Tokyo Yakult Swallows, the Yokohama Dana Bay Stars, and the Yomiuri Giants. This year, there will be no interleague play, and all of these clubs will play each other during the regular season. The Pacific League also consists of 6 clubs: the Chiba-Lotte Marines, the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks, the Hokkaido Nippon-Ham Fighters, the Oryx Buffaloes, Saitama Seibu Lions, and the Tohoku Rakuten Golden Eagles. There is also a minor league system, which is referred to as the Eastern League and the Western League, that plays shorter schedules for the developing players. The NPB normally starts in late March or early April. This year, because of the global events, the season is beginning tomorrow on June the 19th. Also in other years, there used to be All-Star games either played twice or 3 times in the month of July. For this season, those games have been canceled. Both the Pacific and the Central Leagues normally play a 143-game schedule, but this year it's been reduced to 120 games. Also this year, they were originally going to take a 3-week break in the month of July because of the Olympics to allow their professional players to play in the Tokyo Olympic Games. Unfortunately, that's been put off for another 12 months because they expect that in 2021, the Olympic Games will take place in Tokyo. Normally, the schedules for the NPB games are played Tuesday through Sunday, with Monday being a day off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick look at the 2019 standings to give you an idea who the better teams were last year in the NPB. Last year in the Central League, the Yomiuri Giants finished top of the table with 77 wins, 64 defeats, 2 ties, and a .546 winning percentage. You heard it correct. In the Japanese League, there are ties. Any game that goes beyond extra innings after 12 innings automatically ends in the regular season, whether the score is in favor of one team or the other, or if it's tied. In the Pacific Division, the Seibu Lions led the way with 80 wins, 62 losses, and 1 tie for a .563 winning percentage. It should be noted that both of these teams, though they won the division titles, they did not meet in the Japan series to decide the champion from the playoffs. So what former major leaguers are currently playing in Japan? A pile of them. In March, there were 70 players with some form of major league experience that were on the rosters of the Japanese teams. It should be noted that each team is only allowed to have 6 players on their roster of 28 active players per game that are import players. And with that being said, the import players on some of the teams, they could have maybe 8, 9, or 10 players, and some of them are actually buried in the development team or their version of AAA. And that being said, the biggest name of star power has to be Adam Jones, who signed a 2-year contract with an option to play with the Oryx Buffaloes. Adam Jones, who was a longtime Baltimore Oriole, unfortunately last year got caught in a situation where he was a free agent but wasn't signed until well after May by the Arizona Diamondbacks. Had Adam Jones signed earlier, the team would have had to give up a compensation pick to the Orioles. And of course, some of the teams in baseball have avoided in doing that. So Jones signed a $3 million deal with the Diamondbacks to complete the 2019 season. In November of this year, he wanted to get it done and out of the way quickly. So at 34 years old, he still has quite a bit of game left. He's going to go over to Japan. He signed a 2-year deal, which I believe pays him $8 million for 2 years with that third-year option. And he's going to suit up for the Oryx Buffaloes. Another player that you may be familiar with is Justin Bour, who was 6 years in the major leagues with the Marlins, the Phillies, and the Angels. Last year was not a good year for Bour, as he played only in 52 games with the Angels and probably had the least productive year of his big league career. He's 3 times he's hit 20 or more home runs, and the 6'4", 270 burly first baseman is going to apply his trade with the Hanshin Tigers this year. Bour, it's expected that they're hoping that he can put the ball in the seats 30 to 40 times, because usually with the import players, that is what they're brought in to do in the Japanese league, is hit home runs. The third player that you may be familiar with is an 11-year Major League veteran who's 33 years old, who spent time with the Kansas City Royals and Milwaukee Brewers, and that would be Alcides Escobar. In 2019, he spent time in the Chicago White Sox organization, but this year he signed a deal with the Tokyo Yakult Swallows to apply his trade on the left side of their infield. So here are 3 Japanese players that you should keep an eye on. Saya Suzuki. Last year, Suzuki led the Central League with a .335 batting average, as well as smacking 28 home runs and 87 RBIs, while swiping 25 bases. Suzuki is an outfielder who'll be 26 this year, and he's just entering the prime of his career. Look for a big year from Suzuki and a few more big years to follow. The next player you should keep an eye on is League MVP, Yomiuri Giant shortstop, Hayato Sakamoto. Last season, he hit .312, belted 40 home runs, and drove in 94 runs, and played in every single game for the Giants. The 31-year-old shortstop is a 13-year NPB veteran, and it looks like he still has a lot of game left for being on the wrong side of 30. The third player that you should keep an eye on is a pitcher from the Nippon-Ham fighters, Kohei Harahara. Harahara last year tied for the league lead in wins with 15 and struck out 161 batters in 164 and a third innings. The only other pitcher to win 15 games last year in Japanese baseball was Shun Yamaguchi, who this offseason signed a contract to pitch for the Toronto Blue Jays. Those are my top 3 Japanese players to keep an eye on. Let's take a look at tonight's matchups for opening day in Japan. All of the games are going to start at 6 p.m. Japan time, which on our side of the water, it means 4 a.m. Eastern or 1 a.m. Pacific, if you're looking to tune in live. Thanks again for tuning in to the Last Drafts Baseball video channel. If you like the videos, please be sure to hit the thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. For the next bit, we're going to try to update daily the events of the games and let you know who did what, and focusing quite a bit on the North American players, but also introducing you to some of the Japanese players as well. Please check again tomorrow, and have a great day, everybody.